com and the Next Door Radio app. My name is Trey Snodd. We are live by way of our Facebook program here today. I hope you're having a beautiful day on a bright, sunshiny Friday afternoon. This evening, we're going to head to our Friday night football game. It's going to be Jordan High School versus Vance County High School. That kicks off at 7 p.m. Make sure you tune in this evening. But right now, we have a program provided by Cry Freedom Missions, the Human Trafficking 101. It's going to be over at the Creedmoor at Pleasant Grove Baptist Church. Miss Beverly and Jonathan joins us here by way of our phone line. Good morning. How are we today? No, well, people. My wife tells me all the time, please don't sing on the radio. So, yeah, please don't do it. I love it. So before we kind of dive deep into everything regarding the Human Trafficking 101, of course, let's introduce you guys and what Cry Freedom Missions is all about. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That I really love, that I want Jonathan to share with you this morning is we, at a certain point in the program, we begin to offer survivors jobs, employment, so that they don't want to return to the street, so that they are not quick to go back and sell drugs or sell their bodies just for food, just to provide things for their children, just to provide a place to stay. And I want him to share with you just a little bit about that social enterprise
Please,
network.
absolutely.
Yeah, so, we really saw that there was a lack of funds here in North Carolina for human trafficking victims, as well as organizations that were providers. And so, we were already raising funds through private donations, through businesses, through local foundations. But there was such a great need because we're dealing with the medical care, the dental care. We're bringing in therapists. We're bringing in nurses to do wellness checks. Our case management team is a well-trained, trauma-informed case management team. And so there's a lot of money that goes involved just to provide all the services, as well as the emergency shelter side, the long-term care side, even our transitional side that we've developed this last year. So how are we going to be able to pay for that? And how are we going to be able to get these survivors in a place where they can be able to take care of themselves, have healthy, productive lives? And that's their desire. They want to live healthy. They want to have value and purpose in their work, and for it to mean something, and for it to be able to sustain them. And so, Beverly had just a wonderful idea of one day having a boutique type shop that we could provide with survivor-made goods, with high-end boutique stuff, that could be a sustainable business idea to be able to help support the ministry and the services that we provide. And so it began with us making jewelry with the girls. And there was really two things that took place in that. Is when we were making the jewelry, there's two lies that the traffickers always tell the girls. They tell them nobody could love you, nobody cares for you. This is it. We're the only ones that care about you. We're the only ones that can take care of you. And then the second lie is you can't do anything of worth except for what you're doing. You can't do anything of value. And so our team really comes around these girls, and really the girls hear it, they experience it, they see it. Somebody does love you. They love you through the beautiful home that we provide. They love you through the volunteers that come and mentor and serve. They love you through just the dynamic of abuse and horror that you've experienced. But then while they're making the jewelry, they're able to make something beautiful. They're able to make something of value that we're able to then turn around and sell, and then provide, food in the shelter. We're able to provide clothes on the girls' backs. We're able to use that to pay them a living wage. And so that was really how Cry Freedom Missions shop began. And over the last several years, it has grown and grown and grown. We have a store here in Goldsboro, and then we're upfitting a new building now that we're expanding here in Goldsboro. And then we also have a brick and mortar store in Roxboro, North Carolina. And we're about to expand that shop as well and move it to a new location just down the road from where we're currently located. But that afforded us to be able to employ survivors and give them a place of worth and value and purpose. And it's really a beautiful thing to see someone who, months prior, they were coming off drugs, they were walking through the horror of their abuse. Many times they would be up all night, all day, for weeks on end, just reliving the trauma that they experienced. And just a tidbit of information, one psychologist told us last year that a woman who's been in active trafficking for 2 years is the equivalent of post-traumatic stress that a man could experience in war for 40.
Wow.
You just let that sink in.
Absolutely.
We all probably have friends or know somebody who was in the Vietnam War or they're in Afghanistan, and they may have served a tour or 2 tours, maybe a year, maybe 2 years at the most. And we've seen the impact that it's had on those individuals. But just 40 years in that type of environment is the equivalent of the trauma that they experienced in this type of sexual exploitation and abuse. And so to see these young ladies just begin to thrive, for them to move from that place of victimhood to an overcomer and a survivor, it's a beautiful thing. And it's really our desire is to see that full restoration take place with all the survivors that we work with.
The CEO, Beverly Weeks, and the COO, Jonathan Chavez, joins us here. They're going to be at the Pleasant Grove Baptist Church beginning on Saturday, September 24th at 10 a.m. in Creedmoor. They are with CryFreedomMissions.com. Guys, this has been tremendous. Thank you so much for really sharing a lot of the stories. I know a lot of the times some of these women or whatever, it can be kind of traumatizing to tell their story. So I appreciate that very much. Talk a little bit more about the Human Trafficking 101 there in Creedmoor. What can people expect when they get there?
So we're really excited to be in Creedmoor. First of all, we'll be bringing a lot of the products that the survivors make with us. And then also on the Human Trafficking 101, we're going to show you signs to look for. Say you come in contact. If someone were to walk into your radio station today, would you be able to identify if she had been trafficked, or if they walked into your church, your business, because they are walking into your homes, into your churches, into your communities. And you need to be able to know what's the signs to look for. Then how can you provide resources? If you're a provider, if you're a nurse, if you are a teacher, what kind of signs to look for in your schools, in your classes. I think it's just going to prove to be a very educational program, Jonathan.
Yeah, and I think it's really eye-opening for the public when they come in to hear the stories that are taking place. Because, I dealt with human trafficking overseas in Southeast Asia, starting in the early 2008, and we were seeing trafficking take place all over the world. And really, to my own shame, it wasn't until about 2015 when I came to work with Cry Freedom Missions that I realized how much trafficking was taking place right here in our own backyard. And so I think, even with my own personal experience, I was shocked to hear the stories, to encounter the victims, and realize, oh my gosh, this is taking place in my child's school. This is taking place in the church down the road. This is taking place, in a nice neighborhood. It's not just the poor neighborhood, And so for me, I think it's just so eye-opening for people to understand how the different types of trafficking is taking place in our communities, and how to be able to identify those and to be aware of that. And our goal is that when we shine light in darkness, it's hard for people to operate in that darkness anymore. And so our goal is to have as many people educated of what's going on in our communities, because the more people that are aware of that and see that, the less freedom the traffickers have to operate in our community, to rob our children of their value, and be able to see people that are entrapped in this. It's really a modern day form of slavery, to see them set free.
That Roxborough location that we have, the case management team there has been going into the jails. I know that Roxborough covers Roxborough, Raleigh, Durham, on up the Virginia line, because they're adding casinos there. I feel like those numbers are going to be highly prevalent with prostitution and trafficking in that area. Just about, I'd say roughly about 16 months to 2 years ago, Jonathan and I rescued a young woman. Creedmoor is very close to that area, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we rescued a young woman who, she just could not perform well with her grades in school. She was introduced to meth. She got highly addicted to meth. Her boyfriend kicked out of college, and she meets a couple that says, how dare your parents kick you out of home? Because, sometimes we as parents, we have to make tough decisions. They didn't want the drugs introduced to the other siblings. She meets this couple. They say, hey, we'll take care of you. How dare your parents kick you out? And the next thing she knows, she has a machete held to her neck, and she's made to sexually perform with 14 men in one day before she can eat an ice cream sandwich. So I'm telling you these stories, and maybe if you're listening and hopefully if you're listening and this is triggered, maybe you're in a situation, I don't know, you never know how people go through Facebook and hear something and you need to reach out for help. I just want to let you know we have a 24-hour hotline, and it's 919-988-9262. That's 919-988-9262. And so if you feel like you're being trafficked, or if you know of anyone who's being trafficked, feel free to contact that hotline. But, some people say, hey, we don't have trafficking in our area. It's a lot of prostitution. If you will come out, I want you to come out. September the 24th, I'm going to explain to you very detailed what is the difference between prostitution and trafficking. And I'm just here to tell you, it's a very fine line. There are not many girls that raise their hand when they're 7 years old in school and say, "Hey, I want to be a prostitute when I grow up." I am telling you that way over 90% of prostitution out there, there's forced coercion or fraud involved. You know, she's having to exchange sex for food. She's having to exchange sex for her drugs. She's having to exchange sex just for a place to lie her head at night. And so I want to educate, because how many of you know God wants his people educated? I want to educate our community. I want to educate Creedmoor on what to look for and how to identify. And then once we've identified trafficking, then what will we do with the information that we have?
You both, again, thank you so much for really standing up and doing something and making a difference. We can't thank you enough. Again, Human Trafficking 101. You never know who you might know that's in a situation that they need help. So Saturday, September.
Check us out. We're at cryfreedommissions.com. And then we want to see every single one of you on September the 24th.
Yeah, September 24th at 10 a.m. at Pleasant Grove Baptist Church. Again, my name is Trey Snodd. That is Beverly and Jonathan, the CEO and respectfully the COO of Cry Freedom Missions. Guys, thank you so much. God bless you, and I hope you have a great time, a great day, but also an eventful one on September 24th. Okay.
Thanks, Trey.
Thanks, guys. Again, my name is Trey Snodd on behalf of Local Talk here on Nextdoor Radio, nextdoorradio.com, and the Nextdoor